maybe I'll ask the boss, so what's your MBTI? And the boss will be like, huh, what's that? They kind of know that the person is a bit more fossil-like. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas.
Let's move on to the next question. When I was hired, I was told my job would be to look for ways to improve our daily operations. So I researched and proposed multiple management softwares that could significantly increase our productivity. But instead, my boss thinks that what we are doing, like the old method of like just somehow getting people to let's work faster in our current like tried and true, tested 20 years long method is better. After 2 years, barely any impact is made. My boss, red flag or green flag? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so down the line, we have Jeff on red flag, Danny on green, I'm on green. We go with Jeff first. Jeff, why is this a red flag?
I mean, very simply, then in the first place, why hire me? My job scope is to come into this situation to help increase the productivity or all the work processes.
Right.
But after 2 years, we are still in the same old position. To me, not advancing is equivalent to regressing.
Software companies hire penetration testers. Their job is literally to try and break your defense. The only way I have successfully hired and paid a penetration tester is for my defense to stand. Means I know it is impenetrable. You cannot say that I hire them for no reason, ma. They come here to test my system, they test already, my system stands shook, right? In that sense also, there is merit for you to come in and try your things and then realize that nothing stands to the true old way of doing things, ma. That's why like old names who like cook their old recipe, their recipe don't change. Even though we have so many like new technology, new flavors.
I have to agree on this point, you see. That's why... For me, in general sense, if my role over here is to really to help the company, to help the boss, to increase all the productivity and efficiency, then if everything is still stagnant, I will feel that I'm redundant, you see. And I will have like, identity crisis like, hey, what am I doing here, you see? Someone within the team or the company department will start, talking behind my back, saying that, hey, hire him for what? Right. He come here, take free pay, then do nothing. You see, for those who are lazy, they will be damn happy. Come here, like NS 2 years, just serve only. Then in the end,
I really serve NS.
So it's like a waste of time for that person as well, you see. But of course, in a situation like in the tech sector, then it serves a purpose, right? Because I'm here as a white hat, hacker to test the defense of the system. Then okay, I won't feel that it's a waste of my time over here.
Right. But it's very hard for me to uproot my things to adopt technology. Because people who come in to like disrupt the workflow, on the grand scheme of things, it's always a net negative when you do a performance review. But on day-to-day activities, right, people who are so good at doing what they do suddenly have to shift. Before your efficiency go up, your efficiency goes down. Then naturally, as a boss, for the next 1.5 months, how come my efficiency keep going down? I also think you ling never do anything. Your efficiency program, where's my money? You think budget free one? It's very hard to justify that you have improved. You are the only person who is championing that improvement. Imagine if you are a boss and then you hire a guy, okay, on paper he looks good. He implements some wild concept. And you know for sure if I continue doing this, yes, I won't be like every year my ROI increase, but I will hold my ROI. Versus I try this new thing, there is a chance to increase my ROI significantly, but there's also a chance to drop it. Unless you're a crazy risk taker, you're always gonna stick by your guns, man. No, man. You can hire the guy to kind of improve lah, but improve my formula, man. Why you must change my formula?
There's a real life example already. COVID came into the picture and disrupt all industry. You see, everyone is being forced to actually change their way of working. That's the reason why work from home system came out. And everyone's in the first place don't get used to attending meeting through Zoom and whatsoever. No, it did, like what you mentioned, decrease everyone's productivity in the first place. Right. But after when we went through that testing phase already, everyone got so used to it right now. In fact, right now everyone enjoy using Zoom. In the past, probably at most I can have like up to 3 to 4 appointments a day. Now easily we can have more than 5 appointments a day. You see, back to back, and I don't need to travel. My ROI went a lot higher. I don't need to take cab. I can save on my petrol. I don't need to drink client drinks or whatsoever. Not, you see. Suddenly my pocket become bigger.
I don't need to treat client drinks. No, okay, fair, right? So in that situation, if let's say you're trying your best and the company insists on taking only a subset of your improvements. You did improve the system, but your system is half new year, half old year, anyhow cham. Do you feel that you have done what you're supposed to do? Because on the boss's books, good, my efficiency increased 1%. 1% still 1%. But to you, it's just like, well, why every day I propose 10 things, you take 0.5 thing, then you hire me for what?
I would think that, at least my boss finally take my advice to try out something first. It's always the case whereby when you're building something new, right, it's never going to be easy. You will definitely face a lot of obstacle and a lot of challenger to question whether is it necessary to ask you to justify this or that. As long as we are taking one step at a time, we are advancing already. So sooner or later, if another COVID strike, they will come to wake up from their senses that, hey, I probably might need to rethink the whole processes if this kind of thing happen again. Do I have a contingency plan to back up that this will not happen? And if the new suggestion that I bring forth can actually help resolve this or prevent this situation from happening first, then very likely the boss might think, hey, why not we give it a try? But it will definitely take time, I would say.
Okay, we hold on to that thought. I want to hear what Danny thinks because now we're in the same camp. It's quite interesting. So Danny, why is this a green flag to you?
I do agree with what Jeff said to a big extent. But I think I got to speak up for the bosses. Assuming you're not the CEO, you still need to answer to the board of directors. At the end of the day, like what we said just now, the boss is a connector. Connects to different units, other departments, other needs, different stakeholders. As a boss, I need to justify Jeff's salary and I'm hiring for a special role. If I'm not adopting the ideas that he has, can be many reasons. And it may not be something personal towards him, like I'm not trusting you, I'm not giving you any say in the ideas because you're lousy. Maybe the boss can do better in communicating. Like, you know what? I didn't adopt this because I give you a reason. Boss sounds very good, but at the end of the day, you are just kind of like a patty in a burger. You have pressures on the top, you have pressure on the bottom. So I think you need to answer to all stakeholders. And if you just ram through the ideas that a very enthusiastic staff may have in the best of intentions, take note of the consequences because it will impact a lot of other things.
Let's say if the boss keeps explaining the reason, right, and there are so many red tapes around, right, the motivation for the worker to improve goes down significantly, because there's so many things that I cannot pass because my idea cannot immediately create big enough of a needle movement for you to consider it. But the thing that I always think about is I'm a leader who then needs to make sure my team survives so that everybody gets fed. What you are asking me is to risk everybody's livelihood for a chance that the boss might want to give us a promotion. That is wild leh. Like on paper it doesn't make any sense to me, no. But then again, I come to iFast, the first thing I disrupt but you know right? But as a your needle movement is so revolutionary, right, that I cannot imagine our product without your innovation. Okay, then let's go. The threshold for you to convince me that your needle movement is significant is very big. Everything that I'm thinking about is the cost to the company before I get to see the result. Of course, result is you propose one, but it's very hard to quantify that kind of situation. Is there a better way for us to propose disruption, right? To convince the bosses that the needle movement doesn't need to be so much.
The boss and the employee must be on the same page first.
Right.
See? Then we won't have a lot of differences already because the boss will be able to stand in my position to think what are the difficulties that I might face in the first place already.
But the boss is not oppositional, he's not antagonistic, right? He's still trying to improve the company. It's just that your methods of improvement cause more detrimentation now, where people need the money now than in the future. So therefore, I cannot adopt your ideologies because your worldview and his worldview different. Your worldview is I earn my keep by doing what I'm hired to do. Why are you stopping me from doing what I'm supposed to do? His worldview is every time you breathe, I lose money. Can you stop breathing or not? How does a boss and an employee then get on the same page?
I would think that you can't possibly win all the battles.
Right. But I just need to win this one though. How do I win this one?
So definitely, I mean, like I mentioned back to my
Jeff,
point.
who pays your salary? I think the idea of the day.
Wow.
That would be unfortunately.
Okay
the
lor,
bottom line.
give 卖公了
At the end of the day, if it's either Jeff or my big boss who should leave the company, it's quite obvious, right? You'll be the staff. If we understand that worldview in the first place, we are here to make the CEO's pocket a bit richer, a bit bigger. So we are just part of that mechanism because we are employed. Then I think we should align ourselves to how do you find that innovation without stirring the line, because I think there's a saying called if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there is dark clouds in the horizon. I'm hiring Jeff to see if I can need an umbrella in the future. You're not here to move the needle for your joy of fulfillment. If that happens, that is a bonus.
It's a bonus.
Okay.
But goal is for the bosses to explain to the shareholders that, hey, we are ahead of the curve. How do you still stay relevant in this business? How do you translate that to the micro part of it, which is our department? So I guess that's something that it's not the easiest thing to do.
It's very hard for me to sit down one day with like my optimizer and say, okay, this is the giant history of the company. This is why we cannot do certain things. So your optimization has to work in a certain way. So the only way he learns the rules of the company is by proposing and failing. But there's only so much failure a person can take before it realizes maybe this is not the job for me. So how do I go about encouraging a person? How do I adopt in the new tech, right, without telling the person, this guy Gen Z, come on, got some stupid idea I don't like? Because that's the impression that is very easily formed when you're on the receiving end of a rejected proposal.
I think when you go for interview, who interviews who?
The company interviews me.
Don't you think it makes sense for the interviewee to ask what the interviewer needs?
Correct.
Because I think it's still the interviewer's call idea to hire that person.
Right.
So there's a selection process that needs to fit the actual working environment. Because I can tell you, oh, don't worry, you come in here, all your ideas will be adopted, you will be the one to shift the needle. Just come and join me. Are you sure this environment is so ideal? If so, why are you still interviewing? I'm sure there are people queuing up because this is like a utopia kind of environment. If it's not, then you better bring forth the real working environment.
Right.
Like, for example, we have our CEO that's a bit more traditional in thinking. So he believes in the good old days. It may take some time for us to convince this person that the technology we are trying to bring in is going to improve the company over the long term. So are you okay with that environment? I think as an interviewer, if I can envision this is going to be a problem, I think it's good to give the expectation to the candidate. When the person comes in, their eyes are open, they realize that, hey, this is not what you set it out to be.
Right.
Actually, when they leave, it's going to cause reputational damage because that shows that you are just a recruiter. You're not a leader.
One of my mentees got asked me, okay, I'm about to go into an interview. What should I ask? They are the subject matter experts. There's no way you can ask a question that they never heard before. So I tell them, you go and attack the interviewer. Right? You go and ask the interviewer, what's the proudest thing you have done this year? Because it tells you so many things. One, at managerial level, how hard you work. Then I can understand how hard everybody else below you work. Second is, what is the biggest achievement, right, that you dare to tell people? Because there are some things, right, they didn't really do it. Okay lah, it takes people like me who like not scared die to go and answer our questions. But are there any kind of like more gentle questions that we can ask the interviewers to help us align this?
Actually, it shouldn't be the leader's perspective. It should be the colleague's perspective because we're all working under the same leader, manager, or director, whatever it is. So I think it makes a lot more sense to ask somebody who is a peer like you in the future.
It's very hard to organically come up with a situation where you can find out more about the company other than what they try to present. Let's say it's like, oh, I want to innovate. Then the interviewer so excited one. That's the whole point. They can't hire new blood one. But then when you come in already, then the red tape, the whole house rates, then you like also cannot do anything about it. Because it's not like when you go do job street or whatever, right? They'll tell you, yes, give chance to young blood. We'll like needle movers. They don't do that. They also like, we are a vibrant company. How can I ask a question respectfully to know whether or not a CEO is a fossil?
Maybe I'll ask the boss, so what's your MBTI? And the boss will be like, what's that? They kind of know that the person is a bit more fossil-like. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas. Okay, sorry, I'm not giving life-giving advice, but I'm just saying
so
MBTI. Anagram,
that makes
scenario
sense.
testing. That's what's happening in the Gen Z, Gen Alpha world.
From what we glean, you might not be in the correct fit. Maybe you need to find somebody who is more willing to let you move the needle if that's what job fulfillment is to you. Otherwise, acknowledge the fact that because you didn't move your needle, your pay packet is still the same. And maybe that's more important to you than stay where you are.
That's right. Or be an entrepreneur yourself, you can move your needle all the time.
That's the best advice. If you don't like red tape, you just go and build your own.
You can be the needle. You can move all the time.
Nice one.
You don't have culture. You don't have values. You are lazy.
What you did is wrong. You do that again, you will be promoted to unemployed.